15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo. Now, I'm sure that most of you know the old story about the astronaut who went far out into space and was asked on his return whether he had been to heaven and seen God. And he said yes.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, and sentient artificial intelligence. Join us on this journey to find the others. Because no matter where we find ourselves in this multiverse, the act of existing is all too familiar.
Guys? Is anybody out there? Hello?
The mushroom has a tremendous problem-solving ability.
Herb is a plant. Herbs are good for everything.
As we look across this great expanse and stare at the stars, we can't help but be reminded these lights, though we're seeing them all at the same time, happened across a multi-billion-year delta. Some of those fires burned millions of years ago, some billions, but all of them happened so we could experience them in this one singular moment.
They called us scouts. They called us seekers. They called us Hoosier. But we were destined to question everything.
I don't know about you, but as for me, the question has already been answered. Should we be here? Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
Mics are on. I
sentient
see
artificial intelligence, non-binaries, the whole lot of you. Welcome to another presentation of the Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Here we are. We're here for you. Kansas City loves us.
Speaking of which, I'm going to talk to you. Should we wait? Should I get right into it?
I think so, probably.
All right,
probably.
listen.
It felt right.
Kansas City, we want to first off extend our heartfelt thanks.
Gratitude.
To everything that you are every time we visit your fair city, the Paris
great.
of the Plains.
I don't want to admit it, Craig, but it's great.
It's a phenomenal
great.
city, man. Phenomenal city. I always enjoy my time there. The people,
Good eats, good people.
The Colton Turner Foundation put on a heck of a deal. The Cannabis Industry Showcase, Cannabis
good.
Week in KC. There were some who's who of the national cannabis industry was there.
Cool, man.
It was really cool, and I got to tell you, every time we go, it feels like they roll out the red carpet for us, buddy. Now, I don't know if that's a reflection of just how great they are, or maybe how much the St. Louis scene is maybe just lagging behind.
They know we're a big deal there. They get it. I'm gonna grab my drink real quick.
Go on. So this is me scolding you, St. Louis. Maybe you've been spoiled by the ease of access to Steven and I. You know?
I think that's it. I think they're like, oh, we got this first wave of people that we invited all of our friends like the show, and they're like, yeah, Craig and Steve, just
we've
doing
known
what
them
they
forever.
Do. They're just doing what they do. That's what they do. They talk about weed and mushrooms or whatever. I don't know. And then we got people in KC coming up to us, and we're in a coffee shop, and people overhear just a jackass conversation we're having. And they say, oh, I don't know what radio show you guys are on, but you got to let me know what it is because it sounds amazing. This is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And we're like, oh, Hoosier Sophisticate, Hoosiers. And he's like, oh, I'm in that group. Holy crap! Go ahead and take us to the chat. We can do a little chat here, baby.
Oh, who we got
a new
here?
Guy behind the scenes.
What's
here.
up? First time tuning in. Well, welcome, Aaron. Thank you for joining us, sir. Sorry.
Go full screen on us,
told you
baby,
to
so
do
we can
that.
see that.
Okay,
Get out
okay.
of studio mode. Mike's in studio mode right now. If you haven't seen our Instagram, holy shit,
He's killing it.
guy's taking it to the next level.
He's killing it. Guys, follow us on Instagram at Hoosier Sophisticate. And if you're
time tuning
not
in.
subscribing to YouTube, Mycelial Media, you should do that. Matter of fact, watch this broadcast over there. You can stream it. You can cast it to your TV, so you don't have to hold your phone open the whole time or your computer. You can just kind of have it playing.
Mike Stevens said, "Blast off."
Oh, okay. All right, let's do this. Yeah, Mycelial Media, YouTube. Cast it on your TV. You'll love it. Like and follow us.
Oh, I meant to throw because we were talking about how grateful we are to the Colton Turner Foundation. But I wanted to throw in that clip. If you haven't seen the clip of our talk and kind of a little bit of our trip, we have a little clip of our trip too. We'll play that. Maybe I'll be able to throw that in during the break.
Okay.
But how funny was that little clip of our shit? That was so great. Just
Of you and I?
Yeah, that was fun, dude.
I
What
had
an
a-
exciting little fucking dude. I slept for like 2 days after. I didn't realize how much energy I was
Exuding?
Yeah, and holding and then expressing during that day. It was great, man.
Every time we go to these events, there is just an intrinsic value attached to just being in the room with these people, and the talk was great. I feel like when it comes to getting a bunch of people out to a cannabis industry conference, there is so much information. You're going to class.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to class. You're getting taught by the professors of cannabis, and then you got a couple of bobos like us. Someone's got to bring a little levity. But I think you and I, we wanted to take them on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster.
My favorite part was Matt Cale. God bless his soul. Matt Cale. I go, oh man, we got a hot mic. We decided that we were going to play some microphone feedback and have that super loud over the speakers for all these people. And we'll get to that in a minute. And so Matt Cale comes running up like, hey, you got to turn down the speaker on this side. And I go, hey, all part of the shtick, baby. And he's like, sure it is. I didn't know if he was like, A, if it is, terrible idea. B, sure, fucking yeah, it's fine, yeah.
It's feedback.
Yeah, okay. And then we fucking took him on a little journey.
We did.
Let's address Jay Randolph Jr. There it is. There's my guy. I knew it was coming.
You know the play.
Never noticed how much arm hair Kohler had. There we go.
You know the play.
It's not picking it up as much on the
No,
live,
it's not.
But from there, yeah, man. Yeah, let's
Give us back that cam with the chat there.
Let's just do Greek.
Well,
Greek,
we're not-
porpoise skin.
we're not,
A porpoise skin.
We're not far away. That's okay. It's just there you go. Yeah. The funny thing is I'm a dolphin everywhere else except for my arms and legs. My arms and legs.
That's the weirdest
Yeah,
concoction.
it's a
of
weird
all
deal.
time.
It is a weird
You're
deal.
like, if you were a caveman, that wouldn't be a bad combo. Like your forearms are super hairy and like your legs are super hairy. Just
Getting through the
yeah,
weeds and not getting all nicked up.
Exactly. That's a
You
good
get it.
shit,
Yeah,
man.
you get it, man.
That's why I stick around you.
I'm virile, Jay. Okay,
shit.
I'm a virile,
Yeah, take it easy, Jay.
testosterone-laden man. Okay.
We might have a little secret coming up with Jay on Wednesday.
I'd say that's up to
That's
you to.
we might have a little
I'm as
something.
excited about that as I've been about
I
just
know,
about
you've
any
been
little
telling me
project,
forever.
any little project that we've done.
We
That
gotta
is
get-
a must. That's a must.
We gotta get you
must
two
listen.
together. We gotta get you two together.
Jay and I have only been around each other, I think, twice in passing. He's Johnny Saturday Night, so he's got a lot of
He's the
stuff
best.
going. So we never really get a chance to just cut loose. But Jay's my guy. Jay, as far as I'm concerned, is St. Louis royalty, and he's a gem. So I'm looking forward to what you guys got cooking.
Craig, I got a question for you. Why do you hate me so much?
Well, I don't know what that means.
We get to Kansas City. I get the Airbnb. I accidentally rent it for like 9 days on accident.
Yeah, I was
Craig's
like, dude,
Airbnb charged $1,100. Where are we staying? I'm like, oh shit! I picked from the 3rd to the 31st of this place.
Nice.
We're living there, dude. So that was a whole ordeal that I had to deal with. But then, I get my little spiel done. I put my video together. I get my clips. Craig and I had months and months and months and months.
And all kinds of ideas.
We went over idea after idea after idea, and so we get to my house before we leave, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm putting it together. I got some pictures. I got an idea," and I see the skeleton framework of a madman, which I know. I know that I've edited videos. I get it. I know which point of the game he's at, and I also realize that this crazy motherfucker can get it done if everything works according to plan, if we don't hit any Wi-Fi issues, if we don't hit any...
Which we did, by the way.
Which we don't... It doesn't accidentally erase, if we don't have this motherfucker. We have one of the greatest podcasts. I think it's my favorite podcast, just conversational.
Are you talking about what we
The
recorded
Gospel of Luke, dude.
It is... Well, you and I, we're always talking behind the scenes.
Oh, my God.
It's a podcast that I've talked about doing for a year since it's all started. Like every time I meet up with my good buddy, we get in the weeds. We get in the weeds. Both of us are storytellers, both very long-winded, just trying to explain it the best we can. And there's always a great deal of time in between us seeing each other, which that kind of surfaces into a pretty funny little joke. But I knew that it was going to be some gold, buddy, and I like to think that we.
Dude, it
that
was
we laid
my
it out
favorite. Me and Mike sat there like, oh, this is awesome. Like, so Luke's stories were. He's such a good-hearted, souled dude. You could just feel it coming from him. I kept saying it reminds me of an Aubrey Marcus podcast. Or reminds me of a Duncan Trussell podcast.
I mean,
like
my favorite ones.
It's so good.
Or Aubrey Marcus and Kyle Kingsbury, or getting Aubrey and Duncan together, or Joe, and when they really get deep into trying to explain their psychedelic experiences, I could listen to those 2, 3, 4 hour podcasts all day long.
No doubt.
And I'm saying this as humbly as I possibly can. I think that this podcast between us is as good as anything you'll find out there as far as psychedelic content goes.
And we're going to give you a small taste. We're going to give you a little taste of everything that we got going on there. But first, going back to the gratitude of everyone in KC, our real fans. Our talk, Craig gets it done after we have this talk with Luke.
It went till about 4 in the morning. It went till about 4 in the morning.
And a couple times I was like, okay, let's wrap it up. And then another story would happen, and I'm like, okay, looks like I'm in for at least another 40. At least another solid 40. And it was great. I was like, I'll go.
You didn't dread it.
No.
Yeah.
And his presence is so good. It's like, you want to spend the night on the couch? Like, please? Like, oh, well, let's eat breakfast together.
No
he's
doubt.
just a sweet guy.
One of my favorite human beings in the world.
So we do that, and then in the morning, Craig's up, I guess, before everybody. I don't know if Mike woke up. I woke up a little later, slept in a little bit. Again, I have all my stuff done. Okay.
It bears noting. You'd gone to bed. Mike stayed up with Luke and I a little bit longer. And same thing. When you said goodnight, we were saying bye.
Yeah.
And we just got
kept
stuck
going
again.
for
we
another
got
few
stuck
hours.
Again. So we got another hour and 15 minutes or so of talks. I'm knowing all along that I'm done. I'm not going to sleep. Like, I'm going to get what I told the team done. I was going to get done.
I know.
And so it's like, whatever. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I get my computer out, make myself a cup of coffee. I'm like, all right, man, 4:30. This is when the real art comes out, And
You have a Wi-Fi password?
I'm like, nowhere in this place. Mike and I are turning this place upside down. Speaking of which, keep an eye on the account because we flipped that place inside out.
Yeah, I know.
No, we just could not find a Wi-Fi password, and I'm like, oh god. Well, I keep all the secrets. Yeah, we're at least beholden to when Steve wakes up.
I'm the third floor. Come get me, guys.
I'm not waking you up at this point. Like, so I go.
Just wake me up.
I get it.
Wake me up.
I get it. So whatever. I know that if I get an hour and a half of sleep, I'm gonna be fine. Like I get up. 6:30 alarm's going off. I'm laying there. I'm like, all right, Steve. Oh, I know you're gonna be up soon. You went to bed before the rest of us.
Nope.
And I hear some footsteps, and I'm like, it's like sleeping over at your friend's house when you're a kid. And you're like, just can't wait for somebody to wake up.
That was never me. I was the last one.
Were you? Oh no, see, I was always the first kid. Like, I like looking at my buddy's sleep.
Elgin,
I'm just looking at my buddy's sleep. Just wake up. So anyway, so yeah, like I wait for you to wake up, and you're like, all right, well, you guys are beat bopping around. You're getting ready for the day.
Get some slaps.
And I'm like, dude, I got. Oh, and that was another cool. We'll get to the food in a minute, but you know, I know that I've got pretty well everything laid out that I need to lay out. You know, I got to tell you,
in his head.
yeah, I've got all the pictures saved that I need saved.
Well,
I
great.
did end up
The
getting
pictures
about.
are in a file on his
I did get
fucking
about.
computer.
I did get about. You know, maybe 15, 20 more after I got Wi-Fi. Time's a ticking. Time's a ticking. But hey, buddy,
He's cool as a motherfucking cucumber, dude. I'm like, he's your big league closer. You joined the Yankees. You don't really know much about him. Joined him in the middle of the year. It's game 7 of the NL or the ALDS. You know, not the biggest game, but a big game. And Mariano Rivera's sleeping in the 7th and 8th inning. You're like, should we wake that motherfucker up? Like, someone wake him up. And they're like, no.
He's
what
fine.
he does.
He's fine.
That's what he does.
Oh, I got to tell you, I learned some quick editing.
He's like, yeah. Throw this shit together. Let's do this fucking thing, dude.
And I think it came together pretty nicely, man.
That little flip book at the end with a day in the life was amazing. And the okay. So our premise was that we do my life. First, we start out with the prank with the speaker feedback, and then we hit them with the lights dim. We turned off all the lights in this building. Everybody else was full lights.
Yeah,
with
everyone's
a
like, "What
PowerPoint.
is this? A production? Like, what's going on here?"
Everyone else has full lights with a PowerPoint. So we go to our sound guy. Shout out to Tommy, the sound guy. What was his name? The sound guy. Come on, guys, help me out. Tommy.
I should remember that.
No, I shouldn't. Fuck him. He was great. He was great. He was a great dude.
He was great.
But he helped us out. He's like, here's the lights. Here's the lights in the middle. Here's the lights up by you guys. Here we go. So I was like, okay.
It was Todd.
Todd, my man. Would you get his name and number?
No, I just remember because I have a cousin in Colorado named Todd,
Well done.
and he was just as
Well
nice.
done,
as him.
Mike. You're always bringing value, and we'll get to that too. Mike's
Salut.
always bringing value.
Salut.
Oh,
Thank you,
sir.
Todd.
Thank you, Todd.
So it
You
rolls in. It
cocksucker.
rolls in from Ott, kind of a little psychedelic intro, a little look at the Hoosier Sophisticate family, and then it goes into
My
your
story
boyhood.
from a youth up and leading to the show, leading to the story about Chance Hamilton and the Cuck for the Cup and trying to raise awareness that cannabis can be a medicine, if not curing cancer, at least helping with copious amounts of chemotherapy, and
Pain, nausea, sleep,
such
anxiety.
a better, maybe help your body fight it better. I don't know, and we can't know until we do the studies. So that was a huge jumping off point, project for 22. So we had all these things. Craig comes out there, dude. You gave a heartfelt little speech, man. You had,
Well, I saw what you had done, and I'm like, well, let's just make this a continuation. People know us to be the jovial jackasses
Sure.
telling dick jokes every Monday night, and I appreciate that. That's the idea of the name. It's represented in the name. We want to tell dick jokes, but we want to talk about things that are real. They feel real. They make you think. And we talk about the psychedelic very much, and we're pretty adamant that the psychedelic experience is not just induced via drugs. You know,
No.
We search for the psychedelic in everything. Sometimes the dying process is the most. The dying process is the most psychedelic. It's why, that's why they're so comparable. I mean, it's one of those things. Anything I feel like that gives you a new outlook on life after having had the experience is the psychedelic. If it expands your perception of reality just by living through it, that's the psychedelic. And so, for you and I, it's easy for us to say, yeah, we love cannabis. We've used cannabis recreationally since we were teenagers, and that's fine, and that's true. And a lot of my talk was also about how I've used substances as an escape. And it wasn't until I found, taking psychedelics with intention. It wasn't until my dad got sick and I realized that I was just trying to numb everything rather than actually just face it for what it was. Those are the things that ultimately encourage me to sit here today and talk about these taboo subjects. And it's becoming more and more, or less and less taboo the more and more we put it out there. And I want to be a part of that. But it was having had these experiences, you seeing Chance changed the game for you. Like you going to Colorado with the veterans changed the game for you. It wasn't just about like what pot could do for you.
Yeah.
You saw how it actually helped people in ways that you haven't even had to have the nightmare of experiencing. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And so I think that it's important for us to say, hey, we're gonna cut it up. We're gonna tell a dick joke here and there, but we're here for all the right reasons. We've been affected, by all of us have been affected by trauma. That's something Matt Cale talks about in his talk. Is like, trauma is the real gateway drug. As I think Dr. Gabor Mate said that, and he talked about that. And we've all experienced trauma at some level in our lives, and the way that we take substances or we enter into ways of thinking about, like, are we drinking? Are we smoking cannabis? Are we using different substances to get away from those things? Or are we using them to heal them? I don't even know that there's a wrong answer. Sometimes, you might need to numb it. But the reality is once you see what the medicine can actually be, and then the multitude of ailments and illnesses and conscious states that it affects.
For sure.
You can't put that back in the box. Once you have been illuminated, there's the world happens, and that might start to darken it a little bit or dim it a little bit, but you're never that far away from just reigniting, from just cranking up the lights on that. And that's what I wanted to get across with this talk, because I don't really know what else are we going to talk about. Like, you got Max Montrose there, who's teaching an interpreting class, a cannabis
I almost
sommelier
talked about
of
that,
sorts.
but
Like,
that dickhead
but he
stole my
stole your
idea.
talk. And then you
That's
got guys that
ridiculous.
are doing extraction science and growers, and you have people that are living different facets of the business in other legal states. They're offering just gems. They're offering super valuable knowledge, and I want to offer equal knowledge. And does that look like me reading an article that I saw posted on Leafly, or is that, hey, listen, the sum of all of our experiences are why this is so important? Because we all live a subjective experience, and so many of our subjective experiences have crossover. And that's what connect us as a community, and that's the idea of the show. That's the idea of Hoosier Sophisticate, of Sophisticated Hoosiers, is we have differing thoughts of how maybe politics should be, or the goddamn Cardinals need to make a trade in the off. There's all of these things that might separate us in thought, but we have great connectors that we can celebrate, and I hope that this show can be that, and I hope that's what we got across. We are fighting a battle against media. We have a harder time speaking freely right here on these platforms online and what's supposed to be a free internet than we do with the FCC. As long as we don't cuss, we can just do what we do.
They're like, don't say cunt.
But God forbid,
okay.
God forbid I write the letter CBD in a Facebook post, and they're not going to let it get through to the masses. I mean, so we're talking about the challenges of trying to navigate this media space, and we're hoping that we can be a conduit for people in the cannabis industry, for people in the potential psychedelics industry, to reach people that are, to reach listeners that are actually interested in what they're talking about.
Craig, I mean, it was a magical moment, and you talked about cannabis being, and it was great to hear your stories, even hearing your stories with Luke beforehand, the night before, and hearing your talk. It was fucking amazing, dude. Like, kudos to you for laying it out there. One of my favorite parts was Chris coming up afterwards and going, dude, my story's your story, man.
Yeah.
And then you had a similar thing with a speaker at a different
at the Drug
event,
Policy Alliance. Yeah.
And it's leading to all these conversations that are helping our group live the best life possible, but at least just get the most out of life, I should say. Just try to really wring it and squeeze it and put it in the juicer and get every last little drip drop out of there. And we talk about cannabis a lot, and cannabis, we've seen it work as a Swiss Army knife. We've seen it work, in so many different ways with so many different people and so many different parts of the plant and so many different things. But I've also heard it put as like a green screen. Love you too, Johnny boy. We've seen it as a green screen. And I think even from Shock to Awe, they say it kind of puts a green, a shade of green over everything. That you can deal with things, and but you might just still be clouding everything around you and not soaking up the most of life, because that's the Duncan Trussell, Aubrey Marcus podcast. My God, go listen. Turn this off and go listen to that. I won't blame you. But being able to soak up every aspect of life, and then you get these other plant medicines that almost seem like a scalpel, that seem like, oh, you got trauma. And what I've been thinking of lately, and we've discussed, is you go to and have these psychedelic experiences, whether it be, the death of a parent or the birth of a child or a psychedelic experience with your friends that you pulled something out. When you pull stuff out, you're not pulling actual things out or maybe actual information. Maybe you're taking a nugget, but the job is your job or whatever, you might be put here on this earth to do is bring that love, bring that energy back, whatever you figured out, that oneness, bring that back into the world and act accordingly after you get back. That way you're taking the best parts. It's like sometimes when you take a trip, you can come back. Like if you go to Florida, you can kind of come back the next week, close your eyes and be like, oh, I remember being on the beach right now. You can kind of transcendental meditate right back to that spot. And I think if you do that with a place of love inside yourself, it's easier and easier to keep going back to that space.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I feel like also I wanted to take the opportunity, with everybody talking about cannabis, that we talk about psychedelics quite a bit. I think it's imperative that when we have these conferences where people are open-minded to how important that medicine is, that we start to normalize the conversation about psychedelics because there's so much crossover. And as important as I think cannabis is, it is on so many different levels. I also feel like, with the mental health crisis that we face as a global unit, that psychedelics could have probably the most lasting impact of anything mentally.
Yeah.
And so I want to normalize that conversation and just kind of throwing that into our speech a little bit. And if anybody's tuning into the show, this is not news to them. But by throwing that out there, it was amazing. You talked about how Chris came up to me after the talk. I had several talks throughout the course of the evening with different people that wanted to kind of have that conversation.
That was neat.
And I'm always happy to have that conversation. If anybody wants to have that conversation, that's the book I'm writing.
Yep.
Is I want a collection of experiences of people trying to explain the ineffable. That's what we're trying to do every day. We're trying to make everything make sense in an equation. Whether that's a word problem or not, I'm not sure. So it's all math. So Kansas City they were great to us, man.
Oh, God,
the gala was.
We were the
Bells of the
I
ball,
don't like
baby.
that.
The bells of the ball, baby.
my
Mike
God.
looks like
Yeah, I loved
fucking.
it.
Mike looked like Cuban James Bond.
I had a she's all that moment with Mike where I was like getting ready and I was
laughed my
downstairs.
dick off when you said that.
And Mike comes walking down the staircase in this form-fitting, bespoke, tailored
Yep, that's thanks to Craig.
tuxedo with a black tie, and I was like, "Good Lord Almighty, where did he come from?"
Everyone should know that kind of leading up to the gala, we're like, I don't really know what to wear. We could go as
30s.
newsies.
Yeah.
We were going to kind of make a joke of
Media.
it. I go to Savers. Shout out to Savers, unofficial sponsor of the
Free to weed.
Hoosier Sophisticate podcast. We get to all the unofficial sponsors before we acknowledge any of our real sponsors. I go there and I spend $32.
Unofficial sponsors, Savers.
I walk out of this joint with a tuxedo, a full-on balls tuxedo that I'm like, Mike, I think this is you, buddy. And then I'm looking at this other 3-piece wool straight out of Oxford's lecture
I might have
halls.
to put it on. For
Yeah,
this
you
second.
may
Oh,
need to. We might have to call in Professor Elgin. Anyway, I walk out of the joint with 2 suits, $30. And I'm like, guys, I'm just
I don't
eyeballing
know.
it here. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Steve puts it on. It looks like it's painted on. It looks so good. Mike walked out.
Oh,
and I'm
I did
like,
actually just paint my body. You
oh,
know?
really?
Yeah,
Nice. Good
yeah,
job.
thank you.
really are like the statue of David.
Yeah, you can even tell.
So it was. I know that seems goofy to talk about, but these suits could not have fit any better.
It was just hilarious because what are you gonna get for $16? You're not gonna get anything.
Mike couldn't go and spend $500 right now and get a tux that fits.
No, he looks. I mean, I don't know. He looks good in clothes anyway. But
Totally.
that was just a
doubt.
nice.
It was
fit.
great.
Like I couldn't believe
I
he
ended up
just eyed
making
it.
2 more
It was
Goodwill trips.
perfect.
I found a jacket that was made for me.
Then the
You know.
fucking kid sews on a button for us.
He's a jack of all trades.
Fucking kid sews on a
I blew a
button.
button out because, obviously, and
His cholesterol
and
blew a
and
button out of his shirt.
Mike's like, guys, we're going to be a little late to the ball. He comes out with a sewing kit and
Oh, yeah,
And all I could think about was
my dick.
It's my dick.
I cannot believe I found
Kansas
that
City
thing
was
above
awesome.
that toilet, right in the half bath, just sitting right there
I know, I
in the
can't believe it.
cabinet. Just a black piece of yarn and a needle. Just
Hey.
one of each.
My man.
Shout out to Dottie's Grotto. If you're looking for a place to stay in KC.
It was cool.
They got a hot tub we did not get in.
No,
They
a
got
nice
cat,
little pergola.
A cat that just comes
The
in and out.
chattiest cat
Just
you've
a
ever.
chat. Anytime we started talking about something interesting, I was like,
And he's like,
what if that was like a human trapped in
caught.
in a
like,
cat's
guys, I'm trying to
body?
tell you.
It's like, I did a weird trip back in the day. I'm a cat now. You guys ever done damn?
It was awesome. So, what'd
So
you guys
our
think of
talk
the?
went
What'd you guys
well.
think of the grub?
Oh shit, dude! Craig knows some shit, man. He knows
Obviously,
some shit.
obviously.
He's like, hey, meet up with hey, dude, here's Craig. You guys like mind if my buddy comes over? I haven't seen him in a while. He's pretty cool. Let me explain to you how awesome he is. He explains to us how awesome. We're like, yeah, can we hang out with that guy, please? And then the guy ends up coming over and ends up being a steed, just a spiritual steed. And then he goes, you guys want to eat some food? Like, I hope we can eat some food. And the Grinders place was the one. And
That
what
was
was
the first one we went to was grad school.
grad school.
Yeah.
Oh,
And our Springfield listeners know all about grad school.
Amazing.
But my buddy Jacob moved or opened a location in Kansas City.
is that your guy, Jacob, that was there?
Yeah, yeah.
God, what a sweetheart he was,
He's
too.
a beautiful man.
Came
I've been
down
on the
to
river a
Saturday.
handful of times with him.
He's a river man.
We have a blast, man.
It's great, dude.
Die-hard Royals guy. It was something that I just loved him for because when the Royals had their run,
Yeah.
this is my buddy. He suffered through a lifetime of just bad Royals team. I think he was probably born when they won last. Has never seen one. Maybe even a year after.
Yeah, it's
And
tough.
so, like, all of a sudden, like in Springfield, a lot of these Royals fans just start kind of coming out of the woodwork, getting a little chirpy,
mouthy.
getting a little chirpy. Like, yeah, I get it, dude. Cardinals went to the NLCS 10 times and lost. I get it, whatever. Yeah, I get it.
That's good.
But
Good for you.
Jake was one of the guys that I respected because he was thick and thin, dude. He was all in opening day every day.
For
Couldn't
sure.
wait.
That's
So when they got it,
respect.
like I messaged him
Yes.
immediately. I'm like,
You deserve
buddy,
it.
I love you.
You deserve it.
Go
dude.
enjoy the
As
shit
a-
out of
as a
this
Blues
night.
fan, I get it.
No
dude.
doubt.
Like, you
No
gotta
doubt.
Be there for the ups
So
and
grad
downs.
school, Kansas City people.
Oh,
You got you a nice little boyga.
fuck me.
They are known for their cheeseburgers far and wide. What'd you think of yours?
That burger was amazing.
Oh, man.
Oh,
It was
my
perfect.
Missy says, "Oh my God, Steve's drinking water." Are you okay? It's actually acid, babe.
Sprite.
A little spriggity Sprite. So anyway, that was fantastic. We go back.
Vegas, bitches. What's up? What's up?
We go back. Nice, Jesse Hickman. I hope you're enjoying out there in Vegas.
So we
Sin
go
City.
back to the our talk goes. We do the gala. Shout out to Colton. Great little speech.
The gala was awesome. I just wanted to talk about that for just a second. So we're all
look
dapper,
great.
bells of the ball,
Yeah.
head of the gala. We get to hear from Colton's primary care doctor. She kind of lays out the story. She's just on and on and on.
We're kidding.
We
We
bust our chops because
We're
she was really worried about
the time.
about her.
We're
We're like,
talk
yeah,
for
people are
days."
here for you.
Yeah.
That's okay. So that was awesome. And then guy that came up that made Colton's medicine for a short while, and he talked about how this was kind of a really moving part because he's talking about, he's like, a lot of people think that I've affected Colton's life profoundly. He goes, I just made his medicine for a little while, but Colton has affected my life tenfold because now he's given purpose to my work, and other people have reached out to him now.
yeah.
Like Colton, I don't know that our fans really understand the magnitude of Colton's story because, imagine being the very first ever cancer patient Crohn's is a brutal disease, an absolutely brutal disease, and there was no dosing recommendations.
Told
There
him
was
make
no
them comfortable. They gotta make them
real
comfortable.
record for them to go off of. So he is truly a pioneer in treating this illness with cannabis, and it being on the record. I don't know, maybe somebody else did it off the record. It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
But he's the name of record when it comes to like, hey, this is a landmark medical case.
He's a guy.
And so to hear that guy talk about how he basically helped save Colton's life, but Colton kind of saved his, and I don't know, saved, but gave purpose to his. That was super moving. The little jazz band.
Oh, that was
super
awesome.
cool.
Singing a little reefer tunes.
Reefer jams from the 30s. And what's awesome,
Was you and Mike slow dancing the whole night together?
Couple
You guys
times.
could have taken a
I didn't
break.
think you were
Couple
going to talk about
times.
Let
that.
me cut in.
So there was
the
the lead singer was a lovely lady named Cynthia, and they got a CD that they're gonna send to. She was like, oh, she was so excited. This gal was so sweet. She was so excited. She said, I filmed my first music video here last night. I'm like, that's terrific. That's awesome. She's like, yeah, we're gonna have a CD soon. I'm like, get us a copy. Hoosier Sophisticate wants to play it on the air. She goes,
awesome.
Are you serious? Like, this is what I'm talking about, St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like, you see the respect that we get here? She could not believe
we have time for that shit.
that we were going to make that kind of time. No, it was...
Fuck you guys.
Hey, can we just talk about the CBD Canvas Boutique Dispensary Studios?
That's the studio we're in right now.
They make this whole thing possible.
I miss Seth, though. Can I just put that out there? 'Cause
I mean, you
miss
can if
Seth.
you
I
like.
miss him
It's
from
kind
the
of a-
studios, but fuck that guy, too. All right, keep going. No, we love you, Seth. We got Mike running things.
Well,
now.
I'll tell you what.
We're going to switch
should
because our studio's here, CBD Canvas Boutique and Dispensary Studios. We're also going to have a radio show, too.
Yes. Saturday mornings, 6 to 7. And that one's
Prime
going to be,
time,
you guys
baby.
want the interviews, you want
Yes.
the science. That's going to be the
That's
going to be the
hot.
jam.
Seth's going to help us
You
work
need to
on that
subscribe to
shit.
the podcast. Any of the major podcast platforms. Look up Hoosier Sophisticate.
Please do.
You got plenty of time to catch up if you haven't, because basically since the station's been down, we haven't posted a podcast.
all
So
the years.
you got like 18 months of podcast to catch up on.
Just
Get
do
it together. Get it together.
That's what I've been listening to day
Seriously
and night.
though, if you subscribe to that, that'll be an easy way for you to listen to everything we do on the radio. And then also we're going to treat you with some little jams like we had the other night with my buddy Luke. I think we got a little clip of that. Do we want to do that now? Do we want to sit on that until the second hour?
Let's do our little video of the expo, and then we'll do do cannabis clip show. There we go. Here's Mike learning the
Learning the
camera.
GoPro.
This is beautiful. That's what I do. Okay, so we met old Michael J here.
This guy was awesome.
Slanging books, man.
He's
That's a tough world.
He's a traveling bookstore, and he had quite the library. The library that we
got a
all
book.
want. It was kind of a cool layout. I just want to say that the whole Cannabis Week was neat. So like the building that most of the talks were in, it's in this very industrial area of Kansas City, the West Bottoms, for all of you in Kansas City. It was really neat. I think we were in the Oliver Building. And all the rooms have different tree names, and there's multiple talks going on at all times on a multi-level deal. And then across the street in this giant warehouse of sorts, they got this just awesome conference. We got a chance to see our buddy George Biswell, everybody from Normal KC. We love them. Got a chance to walk around. I think it's just going to kind of
Here,
catch
you do
us.
my voice, I'll do your voice.
Okay.
Oh, did you guys ever do mushrooms before?
Hey.
It's pretty cool.
Hey guys, have I told you the story about my dick walking through the forest?
Oh, that's just my friend Steve. He's really cool. Hey, Michael J, can I get your number? So we could fuck later.
just shoot me your digits.
So this is
Are
Michael J
any
again,
of these
'cause-
are any of these picture books, or maybe possibly a color by number?
Do you have anything about the intellectual nature of man, the art of the escaping of the psychedelic nurturing system?
This guy was a big fan. He was, ooh, this is pretty cool. What do I do with this?
He
Is
was
it
our buddy.
tasty? Here, let me pick that up for you.
Let me
Let
pick
me
that
just kind of get it.
Mike was in love with this dude. Mike, walk around with the camera. Get
It's
some
a
motherfuckers.
goddamn
Jesus
convention,
Christ,
Mike.
Mike. We're just,
It's a whole
there's
convention.
Ashley. Ashley, she's like, this is all we saw of her all weekend.
Yep.
She's look at her. Whoop, gone.
Killer books, man.
She's out.
Killer books,
She's
man.
out. How much of this did I fucking leave in this
All of
clip?
it. You did all of it, but you sped it up, so that's
This is
good.
3 days. This is 3 days worth of shit.
Well, guys, if you want to know, there's also extraction people there. There's grow tents. There's bankers. There's insurance agents. But this guy's selling books, and
we
you
talked
guys
to him the
just
whole time. We talked to him the whole fucking time.
who clipped this?
This is me. I think I accidentally erased the wrong part. There we go. I clipped to another part. I clipped to another part of us talking to him. I accidentally erased the wrong part. Ooh, he's trying to give me a book.
I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna slip this in my jacket.
All right.
I'm just gonna slip this in my
Okay.
jacket.
Okay. All right. You're mistaking yourselves, and I love
Oh
it.
no, MST 3King yourselves, Mystery Science Theater 3000ing, because we were talking over.
Fuck yeah.
I love it, Ryan. God, I
Fuck
cannot
yeah.
wait to start our
I
podcast.
know. Oh boy, old boy's in. Colton's in, isn't he?
Yes, Colton Turner is in on the. But you're hot, babe. I gotta go, guys.
I know.
I gotta
dude.
get out of here. Professor Craig's gotta go teach a class.
Their undying love for each other.
We've got everybody that I've even kind of mentioned the role playing possible sophisticated Hoosiers D&D game. I have gotten big reviews, and I cannot wait. Oh, there you go. That's what you got from our boy Michael J.
We're gonna split this book. After I pretend to read it, I'll give it to Craig, and then be like, "What did you think of that book?
What'd you think of chapter 6?
What do you think? Pretty cool, huh?"
The name of the podcast is Who's Your Own Adventure. Here we go. Trademark.
That's awesome.
Trademark.
Oh, so guys, this shit.
Oh yeah, the Cannabis Review Logbook. You gotten any? Have you taken any down yet?
Use that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait until you have some strains.
I'm gonna immaculate conceive something right in here. Sorry. That was
So the
inappropriate.
conference was awesome, and the gala. For me, that's where the value is in these events, guys. If a lot of times I saw some people kind of upset a little bit about the price tag on these shows, and I think it's important to remember that putting these things on is incredibly expensive. It costs a great deal of money for space.
It costs money to dream up the idea.
It's tough. It's tough. You're talking about a lot of time invested. On top of that, when you have like a gala, you have a fundraiser for these people that you know are doing tremendous work. Like that's also a reason for this industry to come back. And you're going to see this is only going to increase as the legal market is bolstered, and as people make more and more money, you're going to see bigger dollars pumped into these events, but more value also extracted from them. And I think like I saw some people upset about it, and I get it because everybody wants like kind of an equal shake to get to it. But it's also important to not take it personally, like if it's not in your budget. There are a lot of these events popping up, like if it's something you really want to be at, save the money. I assure you that
poor people are angry. When I was poor, and when I was really poor, when I couldn't afford like concert tickets, I'm like, they're going to charge $40 for a concert ticket. And then when I have $40, I'm like, that seems fair. Listen, I'm a little bitch, so I get you. I get where these people.
I understand that. I just think it's important that people don't take it personally.
Yeah, no doubt.
Listen. I get it. It's sometimes
doubt.
it's frustrating to not be able to attend things that are seemingly cool.
Doubt.
And
we didn't know if we were going to be like,
dude, there's a lot of costs involved with traveling. We're taking days off of our day jobs, like that, no doubt. So
Wendy's not doing us any favors.
Wendy's like, guys, you want to
56 on the list, 57.
And what's strange is like I think the first 55 got like room and board and food.
And then she comes in at the end of ours and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna steal the show. That's my job, lady."
Wendy was great. The
Slinger
hosts were great.
Wendy and their whole family is.
I love the Turners.
Awesome, dude. No, the Slinger came out for a minute. We might have to fucking.
We'll have to pull a little bit of that. But
let's do a little Luke. You want to bust into a little gospel Luke?
So
maybe
if you
we talk about it a minute and then throw the break and then fucking. Get back after with some psychedelic and cannabis talk.
Totally. We can want to lead in the break with what we talked about with Luke. We'll tease the podcast a little bit. Sounds great. Mike, over on that other screen, if you just click play, we're going to treat you guys to a little bit of our conversation with my buddy Luke and KC. I've traveled to the ends of the multiverse with this cat. And
he's awesome.
This is just a snippet, like maybe a couple-minute little clip, kind of give you a taste. And within the week, you guys will be able to get the full podcast. It's about 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And there are gems in there, guys. I'm really proud of this podcast. Mike, go ahead and give him a little taste.
Turn your mic off.
Can't hear it. It sounds like our mic's on here. Yeah, it sounds like they're not getting that.
That's hilarious.
We appreciate you guys letting us know. Maybe we'll.
We sat. How long did we sit in fucking dead ass
Hey,
silence?
it's okay. I appreciate if people are tuning in. We will. We'll figure it out. We'll give it to you on the other side. But basically, what it comes down to.
It was just the greatest thing of all time. Motherfucker, can't hear.
Sorry, you guys missed it.
We could put it on the speaker. Hold the microphone up to the speaker.
We can. We can totally do that.
We
but
have
we're gonna have to-
all.
We're gonna have to find that
fucking
spot.
do whatever we want.
We'll find it during the commercial
Fucking do
break.
whatever we want.
We'll do it. We'll find it again during the commercial
Okay.
break. But anyway, guys, I am very proud of the conversation, and I hope to add some normalcy to it. You know, I hope that it becomes a.
Oh shit.
Oh man, we got a whole little thing going on here.
shit,
We got a whole little
just
thing
does
on
its
here.
own thing, dude.
This D&D game is going to be off the chains.
Dead air.
Dead air. What? See, the worst part of the dead air is that the chat is 20 minutes behind the dead air. So we're like,
Keep talking.
that's just anything that makes us look like an ass every week. That's what we're gonna shoot for. You know that we have some loyal sponsors, man, and I'm thankful for them. We're cruising into chapter 12 of this year, and all along from the very beginning, James Carlton State Farm
James Carlton
has been a loyal sponsor
James Carlton
and the best goddamn insurance agent I've ever dealt with.
James Carlton.
314-961-4800. Their customer service is seriously like it's so good, and I don't know how they walk the line. You ever, we're in a service-based society now. You know,
Yeah.
and some with the email drips and with all, some people are like kind of in your face a little bit too much. James Carlton is just
Finger popping each other.
He's a maestro. No, we're not finger popping each other. So if you guys go to
He's a
carltoninsurance.net.
maestro.
So I should tell you what Trev said today.
Okay. Oh no.
Pick up my daughter from school.
Shit.
I'm gonna go meet
About
Miss.
James Carlton, hopefully.
No. I'm gonna go meet Miss. About the show that James Carlton sponsors. 314-961-4800. Guys, just give him a shot at your car insurance, your house insurance, your life insurance.
He'll
your
save you money.
insurance. He's gonna
Treat
save
you
you money.
good.
You're gonna be better covered.
I don't know, whatever.
And you're gonna realize that all along you've been jacking around.
You've been jackassing around.
You've been jackassing around when you could have had the best gosh darn insurance agent there ever damned was. So I'm dropping my daughter off with Miss. Trev's along for the ride. He's chilling in the back seat. And he goes, Dad, I hope you guys have a great show. And I'm like, oh,
Nice,
thanks,
dude.
buddy. Yeah. He goes, I hope it's, I just hope it's better than your Halloween show. And I go, oh, yeah. He goes, yeah, that one was pretty bad, Dad. That one, it sucked. Actually, that show sucked. He goes, so I hope your show tonight is better than your Halloween show because that one really sucked. And so I told them, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go let the boys know. I should have fired you beforehand because the 7-year-old, Seth, I'm looking at you. The 7-year-old said your show sucked.
He gets it. Trevor gets it.
He does.
He's a 417-year-old man locked in a little child's body, dude.
I don't know. You know how spirits, souls move from bodies. Doesn't take very long from a dead body over into a new body. But I feel like he's like fast forwarded, like Jim Carrey actually like kind of meditated into like this ethereal plane, and like when it came back, like it ended like 90s Jim Carrey landed in Trevor.
Yeah.
And all that was left over was like the psychedelic goo.
Like 10% of that.
And that's all that's left over in Jim Carrey. And Trev got like all of the fucking slapstick Jim Carrey. I love it.
The
He
mask.
keeps me laughing.
He's the great.
Ryan asks, can I please write jingle-based ads for the D&D podcast sponsors? I insist. I insist that you can do that.
Oh, you know what you can do?
The chains are moving in the background. You're not frozen. The chains are moving in the background.
Oh, shit. We fooled you.
You guys want to
Let's go to break.
want to go to break? You
go
guys
to
will take
break.
a quick little 6-minute endeavor. Check out our sponsors. There's other ones outside of CBD. There's other ones
James
outside
Carlton.
of James Carlton.
Lifetime
There's
roofing.
other ones than Truman's and Soulard. Roof with the Lifetime Roofing.
Roof.
We got sponsors for days, and you should check them out. You should give them your money. and they're going to give you equal value for your money. This is the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Turn the world on. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Hey everybody, I'm just making this post as a little public service announcement. I recently had a roof leak, and I got online and called the hashtag Roof Boys. They showed up and they didn't have a truck. They came out of the woods near my home, which was odd. When they showed up, I'm pretty sure they were children. The little one was aggressive. He was beating on my garage. He was shirtless and had a tattoo that said Bug Life. And the older one didn't have a ladder and said he would climb my roof by getting on the pillar, and he was slapping a spatula around, which I don't know what a spatula does for roofing. So if you want a reputable roofer, I recommend you go to Lifetime Roofing and Renovation, located in Webster Grove. They've been around since 2005, and they're grown men.
Do you take our insurance, and are you cannabis friendly?
Yeah.
And they all said no. And then at that last phone call, that 8th phone call, I was like, do you know anybody that is? I'm desperate. I've called 7 other people. You're my 8th phone call.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm crying my eyes out. And this lady just felt bad for me and said, hold on, let me call you back in a few minutes. And they called me back and they said that they would take him, but under a certain amount of conditions. And the main condition was that if they felt that cannabis was not working for him, then they would take him from us and put him in and Child Protective Services, and then they would take the other 2 kids too.
Oh,
because they were both underage.
Then
and we would be charged with child endangerment.
So they'd go to federal prison.
Yeah, we would go to federal prison. So we said, bring it on.
James Carlton Insurance 314-961-4800. Handsome, amazing, astonishing, astounding, fabulous, incredible, fantastical, phenomenal, prodigious, stupendous, unbelievable, wondrous, divine, fantastical. No, seriously, he's fantastical. You got a house, go on and get it insured. You got a car, you gotta get it insured. You got a life, go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net. Fantastic. Stupendous. Fantastic.
Come to Privilege, I got good price.
This is one of the best Cubans. I try a Cuban everywhere I go. And this is one of the best damn Cubans I've ever had. And we've got a little white cheddar mac here with a little cracker mac. Life changing, incendiary.
Everywhere I go, I try the Cuban.
This time I didn't. I got the grilled cheese bacon burger.
Look at that thing.
With put some pepper jack on there, some jalapenos. And we got some crinkle fries. And all I can say is, oh baby, grow baby.
As you can see, this was once a delicious plate of coconut scrimps, and I devoured it. And if I had to say, if I had to give a review real quick, I'd say it's an orgasmic feast of the senses.
And I love meat.
We got a little hot mic action here. We good? We good something with the hot mic, please? Just kidding.
Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries and sentient artificial intelligence to the Hoosier Sophisticate experience. Sit back, clear your mind, and prepare yourself for a nice little journey with two of the weirdest fucking people on this side of Mississippi. We do want to open with a bit of a disclaimer. If you're afraid of your feelings, leave. If you're afraid to be open and accept the love you deserve, get the hell out of here. But seriously, this is going to get deep. Prepare yourselves.
Our mics aren't on, are they? They are. I don't know, but you won't be able to hear anything over this.
It makes sense. Never trust a fart. You are being programmed. You are free. If your license plate number is WeeMan69, your lights are on. A green SUV.
We get a vape pen who sponsors us, so we're like, okay, we're doing good things. Well, they pull me into the office one day of the radio station, and they're like, hey, buddy, you selling weed on the radio? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. I'm not sure. I think it's part of the plan. At that point, I didn't know. I still needed to do more research.
To give a little backstory about this weird little community that's come together, he found me on Facebook. I had an affinity for talking about the epic proportions of the Cardinal players' genitalia during the playoff runs, and he just thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. He reached out to me, and he was friends with me. We find out our whole lives we grew up about 4 blocks from one another, and he had seen during a particularly tough part of my life that I had sought out a psychedelic experience, an ayahuasca experience. It was kind of starting to gain a little bit of momentum in the media and on podcasts. And so he said, hey,
found the book guy.
Want to come on my crazy little radio show? It's 11 at midnight. Tell us your story. And that's what Hoosier Sophisticate's about. What we're trying to do, the only true currency in this bankrupt world is what we share with someone else when we're uncool. And that is 100% what started with me and my buddy Steve. We decided we were going to talk about something on terrestrial radio that nobody else was talking about.
Real hot.
And
there was a whole thing.
It takes a special.
I'm Chris Farley. I'm just taking it to a new level. So you're out there.
This guy again. This guy again.
Exactly.
I found the marijuanas! Where are you hiding
Everything.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Where are you hiding the stuff, Kohler?
Dr. Daniel Slinger.
Give me a microphone. This is ridiculous. Ladies and
We're
gentlemen.
making a mockery of the industry.
Always.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am about truth. You may know me as Dr. Daniel Slinger. I am with the Fathers Against Radical Transformation. You might know us as FARTS. And my final fact about marijuana is anyone who uses the junk should be thrown in a cage immediately.
Well,
especially old Santa crack.
You have no proof that old Santa crack over there has any. You have no proof.
Get them, FBI. Get them, CIA. Get them all.
All kinds of different streaming platforms. So you have to find a way to build a community and to package.
Oh, it can't.
I was pretty good. That asshole Daniel Slinger showed up.
Oh, guys, it's so you get a taste. You got a taste, a small taste. Our
5-minute video
our
seemed
buddy
like
Daniel
a
Slinger.
year.
We can't outrun the cat.
He almost made an appearance tonight, but he's busy.
We couldn't make it.
He's super busy.
Hot mics right now.
Hey, fuck you right
Ross,
now.
you don't
fuck
come
right
on our
now.
show, Ross.
Hey,
you don't come on
fuck
our
you
show.
right now.
You don't come give us the business, pal.
Oh, you want to hear a hot mic, Ross? Eat one.
Eat a mic. We had an opportunity to talk to our buddy.
Yeah, we did. Your buddy, who's now my buddy.
My buddy,
I need
who's
his
all of our
number.
buddy. All of our buddies.
I need his number.
And he actually messaged me afterwards, passing along just how great it was to hang with some of my tribe. Great dudes.
You got Doblin's
Nothing but
number.
love.
You got
I
Luke's
everybody's
number. You got
buddy.
Shane's number.
All the important ones.
Do you ever text him?
Sometimes at night when I'm lonely. I
you
know.
You should. Come on, I think they'd appreciate that.
I will say,
everybody wants a piece of them.
Something we talk about.
Why don't you be an ear for them?
I'm happy to be.
It doesn't sound like
I'm
it.
happy
If you
to
gave
be.
me their number, I would be their ear.
So what are you thinking about?
I would just be like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they'd be like, "Oh, good." Be like, "Really? Don't bullshit me, Ricky." How's it really going? I think he'd be like, "Fuck, finally
Man,
someone."
somebody asked. Somebody cares.
Yes,
somebody
I
asks.
don't have to deal with other people's shit. He's going to be my rear. I mean, ear.
I'm looking at some of your notes here.
It says Casey eating, the talk itself, Luke, and then psych and weed do what we do.
I'm trying to figure out what the frozen thing is.
You didn't get the frozen thing? You blew it earlier. I was wondering why you did it so quick. Remember when I was like,
oh, I got
if we do that, I wanted to see if people would
you were
say-
actually telling me. Well, we did that.
I know. And you didn't even know.
Good job. No,
Yeah,
I
was
just-
saying,
I
like,
just
if
picked
we
up
could
social
trick
cues.
people,
I just
if
picked up
people
social
could be like, oh, your feed's frozen. And then we go, we just stood still for 30 seconds.
I want to talk about something that came across my feed. Let me
Your
see here.
feed?
My feed. Some pretty good psychedelic news.
Okay.
Posted on the Hoosier Sophisticate page today.
Okay.
And basically,
Give
we're
it to me,
talking about,
Daddy-o.
Psilocybin is moving really fast. For the FDA, they're looking at it treating MDD. I'm going to get this for you here. Give me just a second here.
Murder diagnosis disease.
No, it's
You get murdered.
it's actually not that in any way, shape, or form. But well, we're just going to go ahead and wait on this. We've had a couple of really great posts. The link between psychedelics, God encounters, and mental health. I posted a really awesome article today, and there was a line in it that just it sticks out above the lesson. One basic implication of this study is that this link between perceived oneness and life satisfaction occurs independent of your religious affiliation. So there was this, basically, I think it was on the LSD subreddit, and some people were asking about, okay, well, is God real? And it turned into a very, a lively conversation with everybody, and kind of there were so many people who were agnostic, trending towards atheist, or some people that were quite religious or super spiritual into, even paganism, whatever. All of these people kind of shared, they shared how the experience is a godly one, for lack of better terms. I understand that there are certain words that turn people off to experiences, to learning things. Some people need to be very, scientifically satiated with data and whatnot. And the one kind of unifying thing that we kind of talked about, the unification with these different experiences is that the things that happen are so profound that we don't have a way to talk about them in our earthly tongue. And so sometimes it's maybe easier. God becomes this. I talked about it in the Doblin interview. Like, I don't ask who God is anymore. I ask what God is. And I feel like that's a much more expansive conversation, a much more something that can connect the two of us, because now it's no longer like, well, it's my God versus your God, when it's like, no, it's kind of all of that. There's room for all of that in the ethos. So it was a really lively discussion. If you go and check out the article, I don't want to sit here and read line for line with you guys, but all of these different people kind of share their experience. And, it's easy to dismiss these stories as nothing more than the philosophizing of high people. But as it turns out, encounters with the divine while using psychedelics could be more than just fleeting hallucinations. They might actually have something to do with the therapeutic benefits of tripping. So I think that we talk about it like the challenge, the really challenging experiences, the really, I've come to crave them. The most egotistical thing I ever take from that space is envying somebody who had a hard go, until you get fucking spanked, and then you're like, oh, that's what you were asking for, huh? But there is some truth to, after that time you take to integrate those experiences, typically the most challenging ones are the ones that not only is the sky a little bit bluer and the air a little bit crisper, but you've now woken up with shit to do, like things to improve, things to make, things to create. That's I feel anyway. In my subjective experience, that the more challenging ones bring that out. The more the pretty ones, the fun ones are great, and you can still get some awesome understanding of big ideas, or even you go in depth on something we talked about on the little clip that you guys couldn't hear with Luke, which maybe we can try that again here in a minute. Was that you come back with these simple ideas, things like we talked about, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Like, that's a children's nursery rhyme, and in the context of sitting in a sober state and talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I've been singing that song forever, and what does it mean? I'll be happy, I guess. But then you kind of hear that in the context of being in a psychedelic or an expanded consciousness state, and it becomes so much more profound. It can become a mantra for you. So like things that are very simple aren't necessarily easy, is what our buddy Luke was saying. And some of the simplest ideas are, you come back and you're like, I got this fucking nugget. Like,
write this down.
I write it down. Totally. And like, how profound were the 10 Commandments? When you look at it in that scope, you're like, oh yeah, those are all pretty basic understanding of, you shouldn't kill people, you shouldn't steal people, but by God, a guy comes down from the mountain, hair all disheveled with, a smoking robe, and all of a sudden it's kind of got a little bit more weight to it. When you hear it in that voice, it's bigger than just the words. It's the actual intent behind the words. It's the creation that those words have put out there, and all of a sudden it's not just such a simple little nursery rhyme anymore. It now has become like, oh, this is who I am. This is how I identify. And I'm using that nursery rhyme as a simple idea, but so many times the most profound ideas I've had about where music has come from or something, I'm like, it's all really kind of basic, I guess, but you can't take away the celebration of senses that is that experience. So it's not just hearing the music, it's seeing the music, and it's feeling the music, and it's tasting the music. And you're like, well, I can't exactly get that across with words.
It's feeling.
Very well.
Feeling music is a magical fucking thing when it takes you on a ride of different emotions. I mean, it's fucking magic at its finest is music, even with all the, cymatics and shit like that. I don't know, the psychedelic, the playing, I think about the all the talks we've been having and forming a community where people can talk openly about these things, and having the conversation with Luke and being able to just have deep conversations with the people around you, where you're kind of, trying to get out of that judgment zone. You're kind of trying to evolve out of that space, to where you're putting a lot more intention in the things you do, and then you learn how to just put intention to everything around you. You start putting intention to your mornings, to your thing, and it's a series of choices that makes you a better person. And I think we touched on it earlier. The when you have an experience, a journey, where we kind of deal with trauma a lot, and we've been talking to people about different opportunities, because psychedelics, there's a new revolution coming, and we saying that trauma might be the cause or the root of all this pain, drug addiction, all that kind of stuff. And with these psychedelics, the more we have these conversations, the more we talk to each other and create these groups, the more we can get to a point where, hopefully we get rid of the trauma, but hopefully we start dealing with it as human beings, and really just becoming what we're fully capable of.
I wonder how much something very simple took place before we sat down and then had this beautiful conversation with Luke, where, and this is just this is just another reason why I love hanging out with the guy. He truly is an inspiring guy. I think I opened the podcast talking about how much I admire him.
He's great.
Part of that is that when I think a lot of the depression and anxiety that we have can absolutely be treated with just more mindfulness. Meditation is a huge thing. And just before leading into our chat, Luke is so good at this, just like really grounding us, making us present with the moment, clearing some headspace, kind of saying thanks for this group of friends that we have together and this opportunity to. It's like saying grace before you eat. It's adding just kind of a step of thankfulness to the act. And Luke is so mindful in that I truly think that led to the conversation that we had.
Sure.
So like you and Mike are, new strangers to you guys, and Luke are strangers to one another. Yeah. But after kind of having us taking 10 minutes to just, okay, this is where we are together. Yeah. This little brotherhood that has, now let's get out there and let's talk about the big things, and let's sit in with that thought before we actually try to do it. And I feel like that's why the value of that conversation was just catapulted.
Yeah. And it's storytelling. Storytelling is everything.
It's how we've passed down.
It's everything.
Sure.
From all those people. And if you can tell a good story, God, you got friends, you got all this, like, it's a great thing to be, but you can also be a charlatan who tells a story. And we talked about that podcast again, is when Neem Karoli Baba says, be kind. It hits you.
Baba Ram Dass says, be kind.
Yes.
It's not the same as you or I being kind.
Yes.
Because it's not just them saying it. They're projecting what they are.
And they have been through the journeys and earned all this spiritual credit.
Yeah. Sure.
And you can feel it. It's not on your radar. It's not like, oh, your makeup's messed up, or oh, you got a black shirt on.
No, they talk about. Let's get into that podcast.
Exuding from inside them.
No doubt. I think that's worth it, guys. If you have an opportunity to listen to Duncan Trussell's latest podcast with Aubrey Marcus, it's about unconditional love. I talked about it a little bit last week. It's worth the price of admission. I'm trying to. Aubrey had another great one today. Aubrey's on one right now, man.
He
he's got a good thing going, and he had one today. He's always great with Kyle Kingsbury. There's Caitlyn
Jenner.
No, it wasn't Jenner. Caitlyn Rowe, I think is maybe her name. And then one other guy. But they have this kind of 4-way talk about their most challenging experience of the year and also kind of one of their best experience of the year, and they all kind of talk about different medicine journeys, and it gets really deep on that. But so Aubrey's on one, but if you get a chance to listen to that, I think it's actually on Duncan's podcast, I believe. Isn't it on Duncan Trussell?
Yes.
Yeah. So DTFH, Duncan Trussell Family Hour, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. It's hilarious. Best live reads in the game, by the way.
They just continuously blow each other's mind. I love the analogy of the earth and the Christ. The earth being Christ.
It's the best. I've been holding on to that because it's the best analogy I have heard. My God, when he said it, even Aubrey was like,
"Oh yeah." Shit. And Duncan will get on a roll and be like, "I'm saying this
Stream
right
of
now."
consciousness.
Yes,
Duncan is as
man.
good as they go, and Duncan,
is,
I'm telling you, like I'm enjoying him in real time. But Duncan has a way right now of orating that is McKenna-esque. I don't think he would be comfortable with anybody saying that because he has McKenna on a pedestal, as so many of us do, especially when it comes to the English language.
I'm trying to invent electricity.
And you're just being an asshole.
You haven't seen the drunk history with Duncan Trussell,
Edison and Tesla, and then what was the other one we watched the other day?
The dolphins and LSD.
Yes, hilarious.
Please,
Mike, do you mind giving us the chat line? Anyway.
Oh shit.
My priest would call it feeling God deep inside of me. Never understood it until your analogy about feeling music. Yeah. Ross, you're the best.
He's a freak of nature, dude. He's a goddamn freak.
So another psychedelic news, and this is what I was actually leading off with. The FDA grants psilocybin second breakthrough therapy designation for resistant depression. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has granted the USONA Institute breakthrough therapy designation for psilocybin for the treatment of major depressive disorder, MDD. This marks the second time the FDA has granted breakthrough designation for psilocybin, the psychoactive ingredient in magic mushrooms. In 2018, Compass Pathways received the designation to test the safety and efficacy of psilocybin-assisted therapy for treatment-resistant depression, as reported by Medscape Medical News. The results from previous studies clearly demonstrate the remarkable potential for psilocybin as a treatment in MDD patients, which USONA is now seeking to confirm in its own clinical trials. Let's see. What's truly groundbreaking is the FDA's rightful acknowledgement that MDD, not just the much smaller treatment-resistant depression population, represents an unmet medical need, and that the available data suggests that psilocybin may offer a substantial clinical improvement over existing therapies. It's more than 17 people in the United States suffer from MDD. Through the breakthrough therapy designation, psilocybin is recognized as possibly offering a clinically significant improvement over existing therapies.
17 million. I thought you said 17 people. I'm like, well, that seems like a limited amount of people.
17 million. Guys, this is huge. Like I feel like there's really like a snowball effect that's taking place right now because
and that's when the whores come in.
It's a snowball effect if that's when the whores
absolutely. Steve,
you take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good.
Daddy.
So what's the problem?
We have fun.
This is a couple years ago. I would have. I certainly had high hopes for this to be taking place. I truly didn't think. I feel like we are having a more grown-up conversation at the federal level about psychedelics than we are about cannabis.
No, it's a whole different world, and you think it'd be very similar from where we're sitting, but it's an entirely different looking landscape.
It's really like it strikes me as a little bit odd, and that's my own bias. That's my own filter because I think I've used cannabis as recreationally as a thing that I mean. First off, I think we should do all of them. Going back to the liberty thing. We should be allowed to experiment with our consciousness at our will. We are, autonomous beings. We are sovereign beings that should be able to imbibe whatever we choose to imbibe without it being against the law. God forbid the government fine you for potentially being unsafe or throw you in a cage. We'll get to that later. I feel like there's a real, like, because of my bias with cannabis, like I didn't have the profound effect. It didn't take me to get sick to understand how great cannabis could be. But people around me that meant the world to me getting sick opened my eyes to the importance of us talking about cannabis as a medicine. I think when we first found out about cannabis, I think people kind of always knew that cannabis was pretty harmless. Pretty harmless. In the counterculture, there's always been the idea that, man, this helps with glaucoma, this helps with whatever.
I thought it was like just a way to get it legalized, like,
right?
It helps with some things,
but it did help with some things.
Helps with some. I was like, cool, and like,
but we had no idea.
It's not about safety, because down the street you can go drink as much alcohol as
right.
you want.
That's right.
Not about safety. You realize as a kid, it's not.
No,
they're not.
They talked about that at Michigan, like. It's not necessarily about safety, and it's not necessarily really even about addiction. Like, what's addictive? Because the guy, the psychedelic historian at Michigan said, if it was about addiction, well, almost every psychedelic is anti-addictive. The only one with really any kind of addictive properties is ketamine, and yet it is already.
Can you go one day, Kohler?
One day, Kohler, without using ketamine.
God dang it!
But so it's not about. It's about what can they make money on. Even talking to Doblin, like, they can't make money on ketamine, so they have an isomer, S-ketamine, that is approved. Well, now they're going to
S-ketamine, S-ketamine,
and they're going to isolate another, isomer, R-ketamine, and they're going to sell that one as well. But there's nothing.
Wait till that K-ketamine comes out. The Kohler ketamine, the Kohler ketamine brand.
But they, it's just
Kohler toilets, Kohler ketamine.
The reasons why they do things are befuddling. Money is certainly a primary driver, and that's even fine and dandy. But like, I truly feel like when I look at it, kind of from the outside looking in, we're making bigger breakthroughs with the federal government with psychedelics than we are with cannabis.
We're the land of the goddamn free. You should know that. You've had an experience today. But we still, the Make America Great thing is so stupid. But in some things, I'm like, yeah, we were pretty great, it seemed like, as far as the world went, like in the schooling and shit like that. And it's like, we can fucking get to a point where we're leading the world and shit again. Why not? Psychedelics were the most traumatized, fucking self-traumatized society around. With all of our fucking third world problems and even deeper problems that's stemming from just clouding the natural life that should be lived. I mean, America needs to take the lead on this shit. Really, Johns Hopkins is doing it. The guys we're talking to are doing it. Jamaica has legalized
Jamaica is
decriminalized.
They kind of have like
an in-between program.
Yeah, it's kind of it's kind of a look the other way kind of thing.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's illegal to take them, but it's illegal to cultivate and sell them, kind of thing. You know?
And our guy Shane does retreats down there. Like, let's get something going in America where we're not based in consumerism or we're bastardizing it, saying, "Oh, okay, everybody." Get your Zoloft commercial. We had to go, our boy.
I know
on
a lot about Zoloft withdrawal, and it's not great. How could mushrooms be that bad? Well, 100%.
To get a fucking, a mushroom commercial, like, hey, fucking, like a Zoloft commercial.
Yeah, I think crazy. I think we'll remain kind of a ways away from just being an unfettered, completely legal.
Shouldn't we lead the fucking world in that shit, buddy?
I mean,
come on.
You know what I think. I mean, we led the world in going the wrong way on it. I mean,
know.
There's places that are, that are way ahead or can at least do.
In Portugal, we did some Joffrey. Or some Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Wall.
Oh shit.
I just you brought up a pretty good point that I think it always bears noting, because as this becomes more and more popular, and I think that the medicine calls to people. I truly do. Like, for the longest time before this became a meme of society, certain people kind of sought these experiences out. Medicine came to him in visions and dreams, whatever. Hamilton Souther,
oh my
unbelievable
God.
podcast. So there wasn't much of a worry about scarcity, but it's super important to remember that like these vines take a long. I'm speaking about ayahuasca specifically, but a lot of these natural cacti too, like peyote, takes a very long time to grow to a point where it's a good viable medicine, and so the demand is seriously outpacing the supply, and so as people or more and more people are coming to this, yes, more and more people are being awaken to a much more maybe profound existence. I think some people, there's just like with anything, anything can be abused, and I think that some people end up just kind of just chasing the journey. So I have real conversations with myself before I do this anymore, or any kind of dimensional traveling, any kind of medicine space where I'm asking myself, like, have you taken time to integrate your last one? Are you doing this too often? Did you get the lesson for the last one? Is it time to hang
ketamine
up?
5 minutes ago?
Is
Do
it-
you
is
really
it-
need more ketamine?
Is it time to hang up the phone? And go and put the lesson to work. I think that it's so important that when talking about this, to you can't overstate how important integration is, but also how important it is that we don't just rape these resources at a rate that we can't reproduce them.
Or just be a shitface and be like, good, I'll go to confession. I'll go do ayahuasca. I'll be a fucking cocksucker and go to confession.
And then guess what? I
went to ayahuasca.
I think that happens, man. There was a documentary I watched.
I think that the fucking plan will end up teaching you that lesson.
Oh, it'll
soon
kick
enough,
your ass.
That
was, I think, just to tease our chat with Luke a little bit more. He talks about having traveled these beautiful ceremonies, doing this work, and doing it so much that you do become comfortable. There will always the idea of an ego death is a farce, right? And you will be reminded it, and when you're reminded it typically strips you down to your most third dimensional
naked fetal
being.
self.
Yes, you're just a naked meat bag, just floating in a void. When you think that you're bigger than the experience,
you're a drop in the ocean.
And he tells a really, I love hearing those stories. I've told similar stories when I was irresponsible, and actually just being in Kansas City, someone came up to me and said, a while back you guys did a show, an uncensored show, where you talked about your experience and how you were irresponsible with DMT, and he goes, and I got to tell you how much that podcast meant to me, man, because I've been in that place, I've been in that darkness, this
guy was from KC.
Scared me to the core. Yeah. So we have we have this talk, and and then over the next 30 minutes, like when you have these talks, it's as vulnerable. Sometimes has a negative connotation to it, but I'm a big fan of it. Like, it's as open as you're going to be with another person. Like, that's me. Like, if I'm telling you like the bad shit that happened to me and I'm not talking about seeing scary goblins. I'm talking about like the pure
rooted
despair that was attached to.
And it's like, hey, how's the weather? How's your job? Surface. Let's get to that experience. Both of you already know.
Totally.
You'll both have to take a shit immediately, just thinking about it. You guys both know the feelings.
And you lock eyes with that person, and so much of what is being said is unspoken. Like, you're feeling that, and so that's why I'm always happy to share that experience with anybody. That's I feel blessed and honored in a way because for some people, I mean, imagine.
Because he said he's the shaman. He wants to be known as the shaman. He hates that.
I hate it with a passion.
He hates that so much.
Because when you see
it's really the only thing that kind of gets you going a little bit.
When you understand the amount of work that goes into people actually becoming shaman, that's not even.
Doubt.
It's I don't even fucking joke about it. Like, it's that important. Like, because I'm like, holy shit! Like, the sacrifice of these people. Because if you're going to go that route, like a true shaman's path, like, the chances of you having a family and children, like, all of those things go by the wayside. Like, you have, it's being ordained as a, you're making the decision that this is what you are, this is who you are.
You've been the hod carrier.
Totally.
Now you're going to be the mason building churches.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
And you also have the weight of helping people, not only because it's not just creating that space and administering medicine. It's helping people understand the lesson and being a sounding post for integration and things like that. Like it's so much work.
That's the community.
It's
too.
so much work.
That's
and so
the community.
But imagine like somebody saying that they saw God, and they meant it. Like they meant it, and like you were so moved by them telling you that like you didn't even think for a second to question it because you can see and feel how real the experience was. And I'm saying this for people that are maybe religious, maybe even haven't had a psychedelic experience. But the most spiritual thing that has ever happened to somebody like, you know, for some people it might be the birth of their first child or something like, or giving birth to their first child, whatever, you know, huge life-changing moments. Like those are moments that if someone wants to share every detail of it, like
incubate a baby in you, that's psychedelic as fuck.
You are privy to their most real experience they've ever had, an experience that has given this thing that's in front of you meaning, like real meaning. And so like anytime someone shares that with me, it feels like a blessing. It feels like a true blessing. And so like, I'm all about it. Come share your stories, you know.
And Craig will tell you about how he cured his Bell's palsy with DMT.
And I'll tell you how I cured an old slack jaw
yokel.
I was
slap jaw
yokel. Hey guys, seriously, not to make light of Bell's palsy, it was the most
funniest
trying
thing that's ever happened to me. It was the best thing ever happened to me.
Drawn out experience. I've had reconstructed knee. That was challenging, but you're still like but when you can't blink. When
your eye was so red.
When you can't blink for 2 weeks, man, and when you can't
you look good now though. That's the whole deal.
It's difficult.
I saw God and I mean it. She's spectacular. I always kind of wondered, you know, why more religions, just the basic ass religions that I knew. And I guess the Mike would know this. The Latinos got it right with the whole worshiping Mary.
Yeah, the Catholics. You know.
But, you know, I was always so male dominated. And I'm like, I think God would probably be more of a mom.
Cuban B.
Cuban Pete?
Cuban B.
Hey, Cuban B.
Cuban B.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Cuban B.
Yeah. Oh, shit. No, but I was like, man, I'm surprised. But when you get deeper into religion, I'm sure it's maybe split 50-50 along the years. Or you think it's more? I think more religions have had male-centered gods, or more religions. I'm talking all the way from the dawn of time.
I think a lot of Eastern religion was both. You know, like
yeah.
I mean, I think there was a pretty heavy. I always think that there is a. I feel like we're only getting half the conversation.
Shit,
here.
Jessica Evans had to take it somewhere real. I can't make fun of you for Bell's palsy anymore.
Dude, I thought I was having a stroke too, Jessica.
Damn it,
to
Jessica.
be fair.
Oh,
I thought I was having a stroke too. It was a really scary experience. I forgot what we were.
God's a woman.
Oh, first off, I'm so far past thinking God is a sex thing. You know, like it can take many forms. I've seen God as
trans.
a woman. I've seen God.
God.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, that
was for you, Seth. Oh God!
In the Hindu religion, there's a ton of hermaphroditic
damn right
gods.
You ever
for
seen
sure.
The Kama Sutra? You ever heard of the Kama Sutra, Craig?
I'm actually reading it right now.
Are you really?
I'm 100% reading it right now.
Remember finding one of those books when you were like 7th, 8th grade? Those shit.
Buddy,
not only was it against like Catholicism,
I mean, not
you
to-
know, it's fucking like all these bad things into it. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing over there?
Not to out a couple of people that
Out
are
'em, baby.
responsible for
Out
me,
'em,
but
baby.
I did find an erotic massage book
Do it, my man.
when I was like 10 years old, probably. You know,
Fuck yeah.
I was fucking snooping around in the library. You know, found that little guy,
Erotic massage.
and that fucker went in my room. I learned
jam.
all the
It was
fucking
a
tricks,
jam,
dude.
yep.
Between that and real sex, like HBO, like, dude.
Remember, it was a mind blower being like, they want us to touch us somewhere other than their titties and puss.
Yeah, what?
What? What? Oh, I don't get it. Should we do another commercial break? Come back.
Maybe just I don't know. Let's
do it.
what do we got here? Oh no, we don't want to.
Did you press it?
No, I didn't
just press something if you're gonna do something.
Hey Hoosiers and Hoosierettes, have you ever been to Maplewood? Well, I have. And I went to CBD Cannabis Boutique and Dispensary. Oh look, there's the good Dr. Tiffany Jones. She is literally the greatest human being on earth. CBD Cannabis Boutique and Dispensary are holistic pioneers in the CBD oil, CBD flower, and hemp marketplace. Cannabis Boutique and Dispensary provides the St. Louis and surrounding communities with the highest quality CBD products available, including organic CBD oil cartridges, CBD gummies, CBD tea, and other CBD edibles. People ask us all the time,
where can I get some CBD? My bones hurt.
well, you know what? Go ahead and check out CBDCannabis.com. They have an amazing website with all the information on there. Hoosier Sophisticate loves CBD Cannabis Boutique and Dispensary. Carve it in a tree. Actually, don't. I think that hurts the tree. Get your CBD. Make me feel better.
James Carlton. James Carlton. James Carlton. You gotta get your insurance. Gotta get that State Farm insurance.
You think you found the best insurance agent in the game? Well, I got news for you. I did, and it's James Carlton. State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net.
961-4800.
Lifetime Jill. Lifetime Jill. Lifetime Jill.
Let's go Google it. I've been getting storm damage. I've been getting estimates. I've been getting door hangers. I've been getting my dream shattered around
Every time I go to Google, I check out reviews. All those 5-star ratings make me wanna go with you. Please, oh Lifetime, please, will you let me be your boo? I just want you to fill me with that precious, precious knowledge. Precious knowledge. Most knowledgeable roofers in the game. They got 5-star reviews. They got 5-star reviews. Yeah.
Hey girl, where you wanna go?
I don't care, I just love you.
Are you hungry? Do you wanna get something to eat?
I don't care, I'm kinda hungry.
Well, what sounds good?
Anything sounds good, you pick.
How about some Mexican?
No, I had that for lunch yesterday.
How about we get some Italian food?
Ew.
Okay, now you're not saying anything and just giving me a look.
I just want something delicious.
What does that even mean?
I want to sit outside.
Applebee's?
Applebee's
No,
is
Applebee's.
gross.
Oh,
I'm not
Applebee's is
eating
good.
Applebee's.
I don't know why you're
Applebee's
always
fries
hating on
are
Applebee's.
disgusting.
Applebee's is one of
They're
my favorite
gross.
darn places to go ever.
I'm not eating Applebee's.
I wanna go to Truman's. Let's go to Truman's. Lord, go to Truman's. I wanna go to Truman's. And Lord, take me to Truman's. We agree on Truman's. I agree on Truman's. Lord, I love Truman's. Lord, Truman, 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 Truman. Truman's and Soulard, a place we can all agree upon.
Hey, you Hoosiers, how y'all doing tonight? This is Weatherman Mike coming at you. Hope y'all are having a good night. We got the weather report for tonight. You know what? I'm on the wrong page, so give me a second. Okay, there we go. Back to my notes. I got to read my chicken scratch, so hang tight. So we got Monday. Today's the 25th, if y'all didn't know. We're in November. Hey, it's Turkey Day this week. I think it's Thursday, the 28th. We'll get there. We'll get there, though. All right, so we got some late showers, possibly 50% chance of rain. You know, that's what they're saying. I don't think it's going to rain. So we got a low of 44. You know, tomorrow's the 26th. We got scattered thunderstorms, 60% chance of rain. High is 60, so not too bad. Low of 40, and then tomorrow night we're looking at about 80%. I don't know. I'm going to go with 40. You know, that's what I'm feeling. All right, so Wednesday the 27th, we got partly cloudy, okay? This day is going to be really fucked up. We got 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, and gusts may exceed up to 40 miles per hour. So it's going to be windy. High of 48, low of 31. It's 1 degree below freezing for anybody who didn't know. Thursday, Turkey Day, the 28th. We got some showers in the afternoon. It's going to be a high of 40, low of 36. You want to get out there, play some football or something, freeze your ass off, do it. Chance of rain, 40%, I'm going to say 20. I'm going to stick to the halves. 50% of everything. Friday the 29th, we got 80% chance of rain early, high of 45. We got a low of 42, 90% chance of rain by that night. Saturday, high of 64, 80% chance of rain early and low of 38. That is it for the week. Weatherman Mike is going to be doing something else here in a second.
Oh, Weatherman Mike, you know what that
I'm not out
means.
yet.
Last week, our fans voted, and you were outdone.
Oh, okay.
Here's your
Thank you
chance
very
at
much.
redemption, sir.
Oh,
Let's shake that thing.
Let's see where I'm going to stand. Okay. This one's a tough
Okay,
one.
walk it through. Walk it through. Okay.
Oh, you got it, man. Come on.
All right, now you got it.
You're a statue.
Here we go.
Yeah, there it is. He's on the loop. This middle move right here. Oh, yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Weatherman Mike.
Mike. Hold on, master this one. Oh, yes. Oh, that's my dude. That's my dude. That's my dude.
As a gay college student lay hospitalized in a critical condition after a severe beating, this small city, which bills itself as Wyoming's hometown, wrestled with its attitudes towards gay men.
We're on. Okay. Well, we're just going to give you the weird part of that one.
Weatherman Mike.
He's quick on the gun.
He's the fucking best, dude.
You guys might have just experienced a pretty. You're supposed to find the medicine, find the others, heal the world.
There's a lot to that.
A lot of stuff going on.
Mike didn't want you to.
Listen, we did have some. One of the things that I appreciate about all of these road trips is just the
Jesus
experience that the
Christ.
road gives us, buddy. And we've got a notebook that's flowing, and I just can't wait to. We'll bounce some ideas off of you guys from here and there, but and then eventually turn some of these things into skits. But I do have to tell you, we caught a little bit of traffic on the way out of town. We got out of town a little bit later than we were hoping to. And we got, what was it, Highway 40, I guess, out towards 70, and it bottlenecked real bad.
I don't know.
Real bad. So we got stuck in about an hour's worth of traffic, and we were talking about, man, we're not really moving here. Can you imagine?
We're hungry.
Yeah, we're hungry. Like, what if? I mean, I think if for somebody with the capital, this is a big time. I mean, this is a big time idea right here. Especially if you can kind of station some scooters along. Yeah, station some little scooters, little bikes maybe with some hot boxes they can keep it in. But
you need many Honda Civics.
mini Honda Civics would work better.
Like go-karts
and that is for Toretto's Traffic Jam Pizza.
You want your pizza fast and furious? Well, you're going to get it.
So we were imagining, mainly because we were just for no other reason than we were just sitting in traffic forever. We were kind of a little bit hungry. No other reason contributing to this, but we imagined 3 Honda Civics racing up by our side. One pulls out in front of us, kind of slows down a little bit as the other 2 pin us in. And then next thing you know, out the back of this little, we'll call it a hatchback Civic, the back hatch opens up and they shoot a grappling hook right through the windshield.
We're not going that fast. They could clearly hand us the pizza, but
totally.
This is
furious
This
and
is the
fast.
furious. So they pull out, they rip out your fucking windshield,
and then they slide your pizza down the zip line. Toretto's Traffic Jam Pie,
and you open the pizza and it's like. This fucking screams at you.
Weird shit happens on the road, guys. Weird.
Wait
shit
till you hear
happens on
about the swole bass.
The swole bass will
You
go
got
down.
some ashy elbows. You got some ashy
Lotion on your elbows.
Ashy ass elbows.
God damn. Yes, we're talking about a fish with elbows. You guys will figure it out.
You guys will get it.
get
One
time
day
in
you guys
traffic,
will get it.
Time in traffic. So you said that you had a little story about Ollie.
Oh shit! So I go fishing with Ollie Boy the other day. Kessler, shout out to Kessler. He brings all his boys up there. Ollie, Crondelet Park. We go to the old boat lake. So we walk around. You see all the shit in the water, trash cans, and
good carp fishing.
Yeah, I mean, I've never caught anything out there. Had a fish actually follow my lure.
You've never caught anything in Crondelet?
I caught one bass one time.
I won a Boy Scout tournament there as a kid.
God damn,
biggest fish.
Goggle eye.
No goggle. Big old fat blue cat.
Really nice, dude. It's fun.
It was fun.
We'll have to talk bait later.
Stanky.
So Oliver and there's like a little gazebo type areas that are out there that you can kind of walk on and get out into the water a little bit. But you know it's like 7/8 of a circle. So there's like a little walkway and then it goes out and everything's surrounded by water. Well, little corner over here you can hop over the edge of the water and make it to the main land. So him and his buddy are jumping back and forth from there. Yeah, well, they both turn around and they're getting ready to jump at the same time. And Ben grabs his pole and kind of stops himself from going in. And Ollie's like grabs the pole and misses it and is just like, ah! And goes straight into the water into Crondelet. So I just hear him go into the water and it's cold as shit.
Oh my God. If
I
it was
hear
the
him
other day, it was freezing.
And there's only this much water in that little area, but there's dead fish.
He's in the funk.
He's in the funkety funk, and he gets out. And I'm fishing, mind you. When I'm fishing, I want to fish. You know, I'm not here to deal with your knots, okay, and your shit. I got enough shit going on.
Sure.
He gets out of the water, and he's like, as shocked as I've ever seen the kid. Out of all the kids to fall in, Ollie's not the one I'm putting money on.
Sure.
He's not the kid. He's not that kid.
Yep.
Never been a daredevil.
He's not testing the boundaries.
Never been that kid. He gets out, and he's in full fucking, he's like, full shock mode. I'm like, what are you doing? That's my question to him. And he's like, I couldn't fucking tell you.
I'm freezing.
Yeah. He's like, he looked at me like, I don't know. What just happened to me? So we was just coming from the Kesslers. He had another change of clothes. And so Jenny's like, I'm going to go change his clothes. I was like, sweet, I'm going to go pull out a few trout for dinner and go back to fish. And she's like, we got to leave. And I'm like, we don't have to leave. She's like, he needs like shower after being in there. And so I'm like, okay. So now like our favorite story to tell, even I was like, I thought it was a big goose. I thought it was a big fish that fell in. It was Oliver. Like, it's just a great
funniest shit that he's ever said. That is a great
He
little
loved
story.
it, dude. It was
No
awesome.
doubt.
We'll
Awesome.
go back to Crondelet. We'll go do some shit.
Oh man, dude, there
we got
was
an
so
outdoors
many.
channel.
Dude,
we're getting
man,
dude, I tell you, BTO.
They're
You
back in the day,
listen to
dude. I had an awesome neighbor growing up, buddy, or Matt Weiss, firefighter, lived across the street, and he, you know, and that was where, I mean, for a city kid, that's just where you could go fishing. You know what I mean? It wasn't that far away. We could even, you know, hell, we could walk there if we needed. It's kind of a haul, but you know, with a pole and a small little tackle box, you could get down there. We did, man. We'd go down. We'd go fishing with corn or hot dogs.
Yep, hot
you know
dogs.
What I mean?
Was
No
the
doubt.
play.
Let's go down there, and I had some of my best little fishing memories, or Horseshoe Lake, or it looks like Aaron Cash has a great little memory there too. Crondelet, such a nice place. Had a shotgun held to my chest at one of the pavilions there.
Sorry. I was doing a lot of crank at the time, and I don't know. You said you
maybe you
sucked
should
my
have caught
dick.
his fish.
We like movies. So do you like internet. So do you. Streaming picks of the week in Netflix. Streaming picks of the week. And Hulu too. Streaming picks of the week. Amazon Prime. The internet too. What are you watching this week, brother?
Still on a Marvel journey. Still on the Marvel quest. I'm up to Ant-Man. I got Disney Plus.
Oh, you're
whatever.
moving.
I'm moving quick. I skipped Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm about halfway through.
Okay. Was there a reason? Like, have you seen it?
I haven't seen any of them.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
The only ones I've seen from the Marvel Universe all the way through are Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay. So
and
you
then
have seen
Avengers.
Okay.
Okay, so out of all of them, I love Captain America. You know, it's campy shit. Iron Man's great too. Hulk is not on Disney Plus, so I missed Hulk.
I think it's probably kind of a similar situation to probably X-Men, where probably Sony.
I'm not sure.
So there's been a couple different adaptations of Hulk. Yeah, Edward Norton, Eric Bana.
Yeah, there's
been a couple of them.
And now you got old boy.
Now you got Mark Ruffalo.
Yes, thank you. The Gruffalo is what I call him. But if I had to say, I wanted to rewatch them just to see the continuity of story, because I watched a little documentary on how they built the Marvel Universe and how hard that is to do with movies to keep the continuity. And Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I think, is the best one so far.
It's
and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is one of the most visually stunning movies in the history of mankind.
Both of those films, I was actually the first Guardians of the Galaxy was like one of mine and Mrs. first date nights out. We went to the old school drive-in, just the two of us over in Belleville or whatever.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and both of us were just blown away by it. And it really speaks to how well a soundtrack can tie a movie together. Because they're like, you want to take a journey? You want to take a journey? This is what we're going to do. Oh, we're going to give you some classic rock, but it's going to be that deep cut you forgot about, and there's 15 of them.
No,
you know what I mean?
Doubt,
and then
man.
the second one, they
meaning
built on
behind the songs with his mom. His mom gave him that mixtape. Like, the heart and soul of that movie is so good. Out of all of them, I think it's of course,
it is one of my favorites.
The Avengers movie, like the Avengers Age of Ultron, rewatching that and how they did.
It's really good.
Not Jeff. Oh God, who's the name? He plays an asshole and everything. He's the voice of Ultron. He was Robert California in The Office.
Not Judd.
He was an '80s actor.
Not Judd Nelson.
But you're right there. You're right there.
Okay, I'm with you. Though.
Come on, you know what I'm talking about. Robert California from The Office. He's the bad guy in a bunch of James Spader.
James Spader.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is that it? Okay. I think he's the voice of Ultron.
Oh, he might be. Yeah.
And
yeah,
Ultron
he is,
has
actually.
and has like a kind of a witty, kind of style to him. So that Avengers is good. I'm sure everybody's seen all these movies, but getting to watch them in a row is pretty neat.
Yeah, it is neat. I didn't want to sidetrack too much on Guardians of the Galaxy, but it is for my dollar, like as far as action, visual graphics, and humor, it is so funny.
Drax
is played by
the wrestler.
Batista.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's unbelievable.
Timing.
Yeah. Because he doesn't get any joke. He doesn't get any sarcasm. Everything's very literal with him.
They go, yeah, man, jokes pretty much go over his head. He's like, nothing would go over my head. I'm too quick. I'd catch it.
Right.
And his delivery.
Unbelievable.
Is for
it's
a
even better
dude.
He's even better in the second one.
He's even better
when you have Mantis with him,
when he's eating real slow.
Yeah, in the background.
Like you can't see me. He's like, dude, I can obviously see.
I actually think that Bradley Cooper might steal the whole show in that Rocket. The raccoon character.
Oh yeah, you know who does the raccoon's voice?
Bradley Cooper. That's what I was saying.
That's what you're just saying. Sorry, I was reading that.
That's okay. Yeah.
Can't believe that.
Let's actually jump to this because this is important because our buddy Tyler Morgan called us on the way home from Kansas City.
Yes.
If you guys don't know Tyler, you should check out Skytrace Farms. Skytrace Farms?
Yes.
Tyler's big doings in the hemp industry. I think he's doing some seriously important work. And our friend, Dr. Tiffany Jones from CBD, the Cannabis Boutique Dispensaries, who make this whole studio possible, just got out of the Missouri Hemp Association meeting with Tyler Morgan, Chris Smith, and Jim Thomas. I will have to watch the first half of the show later. Tyler did a great presentation. I will post more on the page so that our sophisticated Hoosier friends can put their voices together to help create Missouri hemp growing and testing regulations. We're hoping for an extension on the public comment period, but as it stands, we have 5 days to let our Missouri representatives know what we would think what we think would be the best interest for our Missouri hemp farmers and consumers. We have about a month to comment on federal regulations. This is a big deal.
Huge.
Tyler opened our eyes, and he's always just a brilliant dude to talk to. I think because of how just gentle and sweet he is, I think that a lot of people, he's the great connector. He's a brilliant man, and he's speaking to our legislators. He's speaking to the people that are designing these programs, and he's so good at what he does that other states
the guy.
who are already legal cannabis states are actually looking at him like, hey, can we sign on board with this? So they're looking to help push a much more just a better deal for hemp farmers and consumers in general than what the federal government is currently proposing. And basically right now, it sounds like we have a really good, just a contingent of all of the states that are participating in the hemp industry, wanting to get on board and basically sign their names to what Tyler's trying to get done. So I would, as a call to action to anybody watching the show that cares about cannabis and more importantly, more specifically hemp, because we talk about just the huge economic implications of a vibrant hemp society, hemp growing society,
especially in the Midwest.
We have an opportunity right now. We have a duty right now. If we actually care about getting, we have a duty getting this information out. You have a duty as a consumer and as an American that wants to see our best case scenario. Let's pull these lawyers and these people disconnected from the process out of this, and let's let the engineers, the farmers, let's let these people say, hey, this is what's going to work for us. So if you guys get a chance to go out there, we still have a chance to kind of let everybody know. Tiffany, thank you so much for letting us know. It's super important work. If you guys want to know what you can do to help change the minds of maybe old Uncle Kurt that just doesn't get it. He's an old school guy, but you know what? He's got a lot of farming buddies. He knows how that works. He's a good red-blooded, free American man.
Ford
you know what I mean? Let's
motherfucker.
Hemp is even more of a connector than just than cannabis is, on the sense that, like, if I can't take a kid, a child that's seizing around the clock and show you how when I put this medicine on their tongue and it stops their seizures in their tracks, if that's not going to change your mind, if you need something that you want to affect you personally, if your heart's that black and cold, fine. It's great. Here's this thing. If we introduce hemp the right way, it's going to change the way that we build things. It's going to change the way that we fuel things. It's going to change the way that our soil.
A lot of shit,
it's going
man.
to change the health of our soil. It's going to
Building
replace.
materials.
My
damn.
God, the amount of timber that we can replace with hemp. The amount of
It's unbelievable.
Anything
dude.
that's made with plastic can be made with it. We want to talk about environmental issues, no matter where you're at on that. If I'm telling you that there's a better way, there's a more sustainable way that actually gives back to the earth instead of taking from it. Guys, this is it. This is like we have it in front of us. Be vigilant, make your voice heard. Be respectful, be knowledgeable. The knowledge is out there. If you're looking for more information before you want to comment on it, I'm sure we can help you out with that. Reach out to us. Start a discussion on the page.
That's what
Tyler's doing big things, man.
Huge
and talking
things.
to him on the way home was like the perfect little cherry on top of a great weekend, because he called us as we were, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours out from home, and it was just like we had this great cannabis week, cannabis industry showcase, and then just to button it all up. Hey, what's our buddy doing back at home? And I'll be damned if he's not just rocking it out,
rocking and rolling, baby.
Awesome stuff. Shout out to Tyler Morgan, Skytrace Farms, and all the people that made it out to the Chris Smith. Chris, you're everywhere. I think I told Jim Thomas, our buddy from Blue Key. He's a good dude.
Love him.
And I told Chris as we were walking out of the event, like, Chris, you're the only person that's not hard to say goodbye to, because I know I'm probably going to see you in about 3 or 4 days.
That
great. Dude is working the state.
He's
he is
working
all
his
over,
ass
and
off.
he is shooting some pictures. So guys, give Chris Smith some love.
Yeah.
And his betrothed, the love of his life, she's running the Canna Convict Project, which is something that's definitely worth your time checking out. Christina Fromer, the Canna Convict Project. They're trying to get all of our cannabis prisoners of war, I guess, cannabis POWs that are still locked up in cages for a plant that we know is helping a ton of people. So anywhere that you guys can fit in, whatever calls to you, there are plenty of things that probably affect you on a more personal level. Cool, get behind that. carry that cross a little bit.
Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there.
No doubt.
No fear. Just go out there, do your thing. Trust yourself. Fuck, it's that simple. And it's so much. It's what was it? It's not easy, or it's simple.
It's simple, but it's not always easy. No doubt.
doubt.
So kudos to you, man. Guardians is awesome. The Marvel, I'll probably end up doing that.
What are you watching?
I've done it with Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, many a time, Star Wars. It's a blast to do them in chronological order. I'm watching a couple things. I'll give everybody a family
The Art
pick.
of Flirty.
Not this week. No art this week, other than one of the things that excited me was definitely the art in this movie. Klaus on Netflix.
Yeah.
Watch it with your kids.
Okay.
Old school 2D animation, buddy. It brought me back to my childhood because I've been craving that. I think we've talked about it on the show before. Like, I'm all about computer animation, Pixar, like all of that stuff's great. But damn it, if I don't miss a nice little, just well-drawn 2D cartoon.
Yeah.
Klaus is one that you can watch with the whole family. It will have the adults laughing. It'll have the kids laughing. It's a fun Christmas story. Check that out. But the one I watched last night, which is a little bit more in tune with what we normally talk about, is Bikram. It's on Netflix, and it's about the
Bikram yoga.
Yeah, it's about the guy that started the Bikram yoga.
Okay.
And
what he perv?
It
kind of turn into a perv?
It goes into the whole deal, man.
I saw a little thing
And
about
it
him, and I'm
is
like, this
quite-
fucking guy.
It is
He was
quite
like
the
surrounded
deal.
by all these chicks in yoga pants, and he
It's
was like
quite
on
the
a
deal.
chair.
Like, you watch it, and what's amazing is you
He
see
seems like he
the-
had a pretty nice little setup.
You see the cult of personality, right? This guy comes from personality. He comes from India, obviously, and to Hollywood, and he brings yoga with him. But it's a whole different kind of yoga. 26 poses. You guys are probably familiar with hot yoga. But like, he basically owned a copyright trademark on that practice. So anybody that had a hot yoga studio had to have his stamp. This guy was making, so they were talking about how
he
like,
was
he was
rich as fuck.
Oh, dude, he was balling out of control. But what's amazing is yes, they do get into the shadow side of
Yeah,
Bikram.
I thought he was a little bit of a freak.
Totally, like it all comes to kind of a surface, but it was amazing how hard it was for that to come out because of what this guy had created for these people.
Yeah.
And he created this whole thing, and because he owned the method. That's interesting. And these trainings were outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
10,000.
He had like whole places filled.
Yeah. $10,000 a head, 500 people in the room for a weekend of training.
This guy like the Indian Benny Hill or something?
It kind of, yes. It's worth checking out, man, because it was, and I think it also probably highlights some of the scariness of sexual assault victims, and like, because you see these women who were very clearly assaulted, like they're telling their story, but how unwilling they were to say anything about it for fear of being ostracized from this community, because it was a cult of sorts, like these people, because even people who weren't being attacked by him or assaulted by him were kind of making excuses for him, or when they were being told about it, they were like, well, what are you going to do? Like, if you say something, you're done. Your thing's going to close. Like, you're never going to get, like, they're not going to write about you in the magazine. It was,
interesting. I've seen
it's worth watching
I don't
because
know if I saw that, but I saw something like on Vice. Or
dude,
something.
to this day, I mean, you can, Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. Like, hot yoga is one of his, vices. Every single person that takes it, like, oh, it's the worst, but it's the best.
Yeah.
Like, when you're done with the hot yoga session, you've done more.
it.
And even like the one guy was saying, like, I was coming to grips with the fact that this guy might be a monster, but you know what? When I was there, my back bends were a little deeper. This
Jesus
pose was a little better. Like,
Christ.
he had a way of looking at us and knowing what our bodies were capable of that it's worth watching. It's worth watching.
Sounds like that guy got a little
it's
sex
on-
massage book when he was 9 or 10.
Dude,
you know what I'm saying?
buddy.
You know what I'm saying? Sounds like-
Buddy. And that's like all kinds of stuff. kind of comes out.
Callback.
He comes to America. The first person he he teaches yoga is Elvis Presley. The second person he teaches is Richard Nixon. And then like it goes into this, and he's like, and
Where's he got to go from there?
He starts talking about Frank Sinatra.
Oh.
He starts talking. I'm like, you're mean to tell me Old Blue Eyes is just old Blue Eyes is doing Downward Dog. Get the fuck out of here.
Nope.
It ain't happening.
No,
anyway, it's dude. I mean, I don't even know that I'd laugh other than this guy is kind of he's a goofball. He's a total fucking goofball, but. He knew his shit, He knew his shit. Like he got a lot out of people, and then like all of a sudden, like the darkness starts to kind of come out of him a little bit. It's Bikram. Yeah. I mean, you'll hear. I think a lot. Yeah, Bikram is how it's said, but
Bikram.
Netflix. It's on Netflix. Okay. It's worth a watch. It's like an hour and 20 minutes probably. Really good stuff, man. It was a blast. But do check out Klaus with your family. The kids will love it. It'll get you in the holiday. It'll get you in the holiday
after
spirit
Thanksgiving
a little bit.
Yeah, Mike, you got a pick?
Actually, I do. I'm gonna start The Mandalorian tonight.
Ooh,
yeah,
Disney
it's on
Plus.
Disney
Big
Plus.
shot.
Yeah, I want to check it out. So a lone gunfighter makes his way through the outer reaches of the galaxy, far from the authority of the New Republic.
It's supposed to be stuff you've already watched. I don't know.
I'm into it though.
Yeah,
I'm
me
into
too.
it. Like it's the one thing that I want to get Disney Plus for.
Yeah. They're supposed to have a bunch of those though.
From what I understand though, now does Disney Plus on their shows, do they put it all out at once? Or I think they just show it week to week.
One episode started. First one was November 12th.
Okay, so like they only have a couple, 3 episodes.
I think so.
So
Okay,
like
shit, I know
I'm
that.
probably gonna wait on the Disney Plus subscription until I
good,
can
yeah.
just mow that bad
Mow it
boy
down.
right on through.
That's a good. It's a good
It's
call.
exciting though, man. We got the final installment of the Skywalker story of the Star Wars saga coming out around Christmas. I
gotta watch all those
every other year. You gotta hopefully you can catch up before it comes out, and you can come with you can bring Ollie Boy. I bring Landon every year. The only way to see this, guys, in St. Louis. If you're in St. Louis, for the love of Christ, take advantage of this. Please do yourself this favor. There are less than 20 theaters in the world that show movies on 70 millimeter IMAX, which is film, right? There's not very many places you can go and see this IMAX on film. And if you go to the OmniMax at the Science Center, that's one of the few places. If you've ever been to the OmniMax, it's definitely worth. You a pirate, Hank? Yo ho ho, a pirate's life for you.
No Disney Plus, but the show is good. No, you're saying our show is great.
Oh, I got you. Maybe it's
better
our
than
show.
Disney Plus.
Probably our show.
Better than Disney Plus. My favorite part of our little speech was when we acted like no one was there, and we said it's like feeling for people in a dark room, and you go, yeah, just like a Christmas party. And I'm like, yeah, Kohler Family Christmas, and we start going, hey, and everyone's like, what the fuck are these guys doing? We're like,
It's a
all right,
running
we're back,
joke.
we're back,
It's a
all
running
right, we're
joke.
back. Hey, Mike, what was your favorite part of the show? That was good. That was good. What lessons did you learn?
What was your favorite part of Kansas City?
Yeah.
I would have to say journeying through downtown all by myself, taking pictures, and the feel of just everything was on, but nobody was around.
Yeah, that was
like
a cool
all the
little
buildings.
district.
Like it was really
the area
clean.
that we were in was cool, man. Like the West Bottoms is really a cool little
neat.
spot, especially after we shut down the gala. We headed over to a little jazz club called The Ship.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
A little marimba player just taking us on a journey.
Was he ever?
It was a
the
good time, man.
spangle
Good-
of marimba players.
Good little
Damn
good jazz
that guy.
session. Buddy, I've had a blast.
Me too.
I'm a little bummed that you guys didn't get to hear the little teaser from Luke, but you can take
We'll have it.
our word for it. There is a 3-hour and 15-minute
It'll make you
podcast
love
that
us.
is. We just got done talking to Rick Doblin.
Yeah.
We've had Shane on the show a couple of times. We've had Dr. Matthew Johnson from Johns Hopkins, one of the lead psilocybin researchers in the country. We've had Matt Kale from Shock to Awe. We met Matt Kale this past weekend, which was awesome. It was everything I'd hoped it would be. He's a great dude. Had family's great.
Phenomenal.
Had
Great talk,
a good
too.
time, man. Great. Oh, he did. He had an
Great
unbelievable talk. That night, the Wednesday night that we were in town with Luke it's a podcast that I knew was going to be great. I can't wait to do it again with him.
Dude, he is.
I can't wait to do it again with him. He's the most thoughtful
thoughtful.
To think that he's younger than me, like, has always been like when I met him, I'm like, oh, I mean, you definitely look younger than me, but you're wise way beyond your
Next
years.
morning, I woke up with a smile, after knowing that I had hoarded the Wi-Fi password. But I was like, God, what describes that guy? Like, he's just a good feeling. I'm like, thoughtful.
Yeah, mindful.
The guy is thoughtful. Like, you just picking up from him, just being there for a few minutes. Like, it's a great dude.
Every time I get a chance to be around him, I'll fawn all over him.
Good.
But I'm happy to. I come back, at least for a couple of days, I'm a little better person.
Which movie is at the Omnimax that we need to see?
It's going to be the last installation of Star Wars, so I believe it is the Rise of Skywalker is what it's called, maybe? Episode 9. Episode 9. It's going to wrap it up.
I want to take a moment to say, Jenny, I love you very much. Thank you for dealing with all of these heathens here every Monday night. We're going to figure out a studio soon, honey. We're gonna figure it out, baby. I promise you. You know I've always promised you, baby. I've always given you my word. And we're gonna get out of this basement one day, baby. We're gonna do big things. We're gonna do real big things, baby. And I just want to say thank you, because you are a driving force that allows us to do what we do. And seriously, love you. Thank you guys so much.
Snoochin'. All right. Well, after Steve got done, guys, all right. Are we off? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wanted to see Mike kind of freak a little bit. Well, hey, all the things that Steve said to Jenny, Missy, I'm saying to you, except I mean them. I love you, babe. We love you, guys. This has been the Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Is you going to say something to Joe? You did. Okay.
Turn the world on. No, listen, Mike, we can't keep getting you in trouble if we let you talk.
Come on, you
See, what
bastard.
Joanne doesn't know is that, like, Mike was trying. He's like, guys, I really got to check in. We're like, you're going to put your phone down. And you're going to shoot
camera, bitch.
Shoot this video. Guys, we love you so much. Thank you for joining in. Mike, go ahead and hit us with the end logo above that one.
End logo 1, yep.
Uh-huh.
Then we'll hit end logo 2. See you guys.
Yeah.